I'm Hannah Vaughan-Jones here in London. Welcome to Newsstream. We're expecting to bring you two major events this hour. The IOC will rule on whether Russian track and field athletes will compete at this summer's Olympics, or whether they'll be banned from Rio after reports of widespread doping violations. Also coming up this hour, British Prime Minister David Cameron will lay out his case for the UK staying in the European Union. That's 2 days ahead of the critical Brexit vote. Well, welcome to Newsstream. Any minute now, we are expecting to hear a verdict on whether Russia's track and field athletes are Rio-bound this summer. The International Olympic Committee held a closed-door meeting in Switzerland to decide if the entire team can compete in the 2016 Summer Games. Now, to the other big story of the day, in or out. In just 2 days' time, voters in the UK will decide whether to stay in the 28-member European Union or go it alone. Both camps have been ramping up efforts in the last 48 hours. Campaigning had, of course, been put on hold in the wake of the murder of the MP Jo Cox on Thursday. Security is one issue at the very heart of this debate. The Leave campaign argues that controlling immigration reduces terror threats, but Remain supporters say Britain is safer within the European Union. Joining me now with more on this is CNN's Phil Black. Phil, the rhetoric getting even more angry, I suppose, in the last few days of campaigning, even though we did see that pause in campaigning just for a few days after Jo Cox's murder, of course. What's the main thrust of these final arguments?
Well, it's desperate times, I guess. Hannah, what they seem to be doing is doubling down on the core messages of each campaign. Back
to Lausanne in Switzerland, where, of course, we are awaiting the International Olympic Committee press conference. This is on the fate of the Russian field and track athletes. Let's just listen in to what's being said there.
As you may recall, the IOC has called for this Olympic summit.
If you are just joining us here at CNN, we've just been listening to Thomas Bach, who is the International Olympic Committee president. He has just been responding to a summit he's just been chairing with regards to Russia's track and field athletes and whether they will indeed be able to compete at the Rio Summer Games this summer, coming up in the next couple of weeks. Alex Thomas is here with us. What exactly did he say in that monologue?
The headline was that Russia's track and field athletes, rather than being banned en masse, may yet have an escape clause to be in Rio to try to win gold. It appears that both Russia and Kenya's athletes, and we're yet to find the full transcript of what was said to decide whether it's just the track and field athletes from those two countries or whether it's athletes wishing to compete in any sport at the Rio Olympics. There's something like 26, 27 different disciplines, remember, will have to be individually assessed by the International Federation for each of their sports. So in the case of track and field athletics, the IAAF is the governing body. They've already ruled that all Russia's track and field athletes are not eligible. And Thomas Bach, the IOC president, said they back that decision, repeated they back that decision. They said so on Saturday. But he's also said that individual Russian athletes can make their case.
I want to take our viewers now just to some live pictures. You can see Downing Street in central London. We are expecting the British Prime Minister David Cameron to appear through those doors and come out to address the public very shortly. It is just 2 days' time, of course, until we have that referendum on whether or not Britain should remain within the European Union. David Cameron himself is a prominent Remain campaigner. This will be his last, we understand, last public speech before that referendum takes place. There's lots of campaigning going on across the country, and so we will, of course, bring you what the Prime Minister David Cameron has to say just as soon as he appears through those doors, number 10 Downing Street. David Cameron, the British Prime Minister, there speaking just 2 days ahead of that crucial EU referendum vote. He's been talking about security and safety, the economy, and a direct appeal as well to the older generation to think about what this means for the younger generation and how they vote on Thursday. Let's speak to our Phil Black, who's been listening in to that final speech. Phil, Brits don't quit. That was the message.
Yeah, among others, Hannah, and a lot of the messages we've heard before, whether it comes to security, the economy, the opportunities for future generations and so forth. These have been regular themes that David Cameron has mentioned throughout the campaign.